Join us for a review of the new Bentley Continental GT with a comparison of the convertible GTC. Let's go! Starting here with the front, the new generation, you see it still has this timeless design. You immediately see it's a Bentley. It hasn't changed that much. The hood in the front is a little bit more accentuated, I would say, with these design lines. Then you have the characteristically wide open grille, as well as new LED lamps, but they still keep this very round design. And the inside of them, they have this crystalline look, so beautiful craftsmanship right there. 4.85 meters, 15'9" or 191 inches is the length of this new generation of the Continental GT. Hasn't changed that much, so the car is about 2 centimeters or less than an inch wider, and about 4 centimeters and 1.5 inches longer now, but so no major dimension change. To me, the rear is one of the coolest things about this new generation, because honestly I didn't like the rear design of the previous generation that much, but here I think we can very well see this is timeless design that works right now, that would have worked in the past, but that will also work in the future. So not too many design lines. We do have round headlamps. At the same time, they are more horizontally drawn. So taking, let's say, one classic feature, but also one contemporary feature. By the way, there's a retractable rear wing. It moves up at higher speeds, or you can also control it from the inside of the vehicle if you like to show off. And let's take a look at the convertible. First of all, roof is of course different. We'll show it closed and open. Then the color is called Monaco Yellow. Yeah, I mean, that's racing style heritage at least. And there's also trim here with the dark front grille and dark accentuations around the headlamps and so on. Black wheels, in this case 22-inch. This looks more massive, but of course always trade-off between comfort and the looks, and we'll soon experience more about that. Red brake calipers as a contrast to that. And also in the rear there are then dark exhaust notes, so a little bit playing with the accentuations here. Now let's open the roof. You can see in the time code then how long it really takes, if someone wants to mark that in the comments. But I think it's always interesting to see how the process works, how it looks like. And it's a very long convertible, so it takes a while. The windows go all the way up, and then there's a button where you can also lower the windows, all four at the very same time then. And here we go with the engine, a 4-liter V8 with 550 horsepower, and 4 seconds is the acceleration figure to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. As an alternative, there would be the W12 6-liter with 635 horsepower, is 0.3 seconds faster. However, this V8 of course way more than enough. The weight difference is only 80 kilograms, by the way, interesting. And this V8 is taken from the Porsche Panamera, the same as the whole platform is delivered by Porsche. Of course, they're using these economies of scale, and it also makes sense inside the whole bigger corporation. Well, first of all, as for the door closing, we're not smashing it today because soft close. Ta-da. This area here in the lower part, by the way, with the speakers and also with the Bentley entry badge, also looks really awesome at night. Then you have high floor mats and also beautiful pedalry. So here with aluminum and some rubber, good combination. All new interior, so much has been done. Smaller steering wheel, more compact, sporty to move around. Then big wooden insert here, but again, so many different possibilities. So far, only animal skin available. Bentley have shown a concept vehicle already, which is all animal free, and they have a work group internally as well. So they are also changing that because, well, the rich people I know also love animals. So that's where also the future is going to, even at Bentley. Other than that, they are very voluminous. See right here how thick they are. It's of course a very special atmosphere in here. The doors, of course, very long here for the coupe and both for the convertible. Bang & Olufsen sound system, by the way, will soon test that out. The steering wheel control is the same as in the Porsche. This mechanism here from below. So there again you see some smaller similarities. Seating position here is actually quite sporty, but not that sporty. I mean, from position inside the vehicle, but the seat itself is not sporty at all. And you know, I don't like bucket seats because they're just trimmed on sporty look, but they don't offer so much comfort. These seats here are very, very voluminous. So they almost feel that they would be like blown up from the inside with air, that they push you out of the seat. So I think they're too thick, you know what I mean? Now the interior, of course, very impressive at first sight, but more structured also in this new generation. First of all, everything very well processed for the build quality, then the central lines, and at night it looks even cooler than here with the ambient lighting. Big wooden atmosphere, and also how the gaps are being processed and so on. Really cool. Analog clock is right here. Here there are actually 3 different modes, but this mechanism is also an option, but we have it in here. So now again in the close-up, let's take a look at that. Here we go. This is on the screen. This would be the plain one. So that's the way you switch, and when the ignition is on, then it switches between the other 2. Here again the analog gauges, again so beautiful. I would probably drive with these all the time. So let's listen to some music. Wow, that's a nice, very soft sound, soft. Wow, beautiful. Just beautiful how the sound is evolving here in the vehicle. But here you can see RPMs, brum brum. And in the middle part, some more information, for example, driving information, assistance systems, but you can also put the GPS in there, and then you can also change the view. And when you change the view, for example, you can have even more GPS visibility, but you can see here in this case, the left part then stays like that. So as for the rear seating, look at that. When I have the driving seat to my position, there's basically no legroom left at all behind me. You can open the trunk with the foot kick opening mechanism waving below, but I think pressing the Bentley logo is cooler in this case. And you can see here the length of the trunk is just about 90 centimeters, and the width here in the lowest part is about 80 centimeters, just wider here in this back area where it's about 1 meter and 30, but overall a tiny trunk for such a big vehicle. Now the interior of the convertible is comparison, and also different trim. So you can also of course get this trim for the coupe if you like. Here all in black with yellow contrast stitches, and also with a name sound system, 18 speakers. That's a top system that is available. By the way, also cool illuminations at night here again, also with the paddle light. And this special sound system has also vibration speakers in the seats, so they vibrate actually when you sit on it. And once again, screen action right here, so you can see how it looks like here in the black trim. And head-up display, it's in both vehicles actually. Current speed and the loud speed, even though it's not the correct allowed speed here at the moment, it's a little bit higher. We'll Well, sometimes there are some mistakes taken from the maps, so you always have to recheck yourself. And there will also be some GPS information on there when you have a route set. And the car key in this one here, by the way, also has a yellow Bentley logo fitting to the vehicle color. And another special thing for the convertible is here you have the neck heater in 3 levels. Well guys, you know I'm a friend of efficiency and also good fuel economy and so on, but since this is a V8, and I know especially our friends from the US want to see me flooring out this V8 here on the German Autobahn, we'll start with that and talk about the other things later. Just putting it to sports mode and making a rolling start from about 40 kilometers an hour, so like 25 miles an hour, and let's see how that one goes. Sports mode, and let's go. Well, that's 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour, and wow, that's super silent here still, I mean considering. And of course very easy acceleration from this V8, all-wheel drive with the rear wheel bias, and you know, here with the anti-tilt control they have anti-roll control, the car also stays way more stable than the previous generation, also when we're here at higher speeds. That's definitely remarkable, and good steering feeling also still here at higher speeds, so suddenly the vehicle feels very sporty. Now heavy on the brakes. Oh, whoa, yeah, there you feel the weight of the vehicle. Yeah, that's the latest point where you like, yeah, that goes very fastly forward, but you have to manage the brakes, and you know, there's still laws of physics applying. Yeah, I have to be aware of that, but wow, that was actually quite a good acceleration for such a big vehicle, definitely. This about 4 seconds here for the 550 horsepower. You know, in the Porsche Panamera Turbo with the same V8, where they also got the engine from here, is 0.4 seconds faster in the Porsche. So here, of course, especially due to the weight and so on, yeah, I mean, it's still fast enough. And the convertible is 0.1 seconds slower than with the very same engine. Here now in the tunnel, wow, look at that here. Beautiful ambient lighting here, and especially in the middle console area. Yeah, that's a wonderful job. Also with the analog gauges I've put here on at the moment. So that's really, really cool. The view to the rear, by the way, is very, very limited. So it's just like like this. So, but we have the coupe, so there's no real B-pillar. So the visibility to the sides is awesome. But there's also the blind spot monitor, which you can see right here. There is again flashing when I turn the turning indicators at the same time. It's an additional warning. But that's really cool with coupes and convertibles, that you have very great over-the-shoulder visibility. Now again, beautiful ambient lighting. That's something I would, can't stop to amaze me. I would enjoy that every day when I drive this vehicle, to have this, just this beautiful ambient light. Well, to the front, I think they've also managed to improve that. Before that, you could not really estimate what's going on in the front there, because it was like not so good from the visibility. Now definitely better. Sports mode now again, and from 90 kilometers an hour, let's go. That's again 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour. For safety reasons, I won't drive faster than that, because there's still other cars on the road, and the car is so much better hooking up to the road than the previous generation. It feels so much more agile and connected to the road. So that's really remarkable. And yeah, I wouldn't exactly say it feels like a British Panamera or something, because I mean, but if they put the air suspension really stiff, maybe then it would. But you feel the Volkswagen AG DNA, so to say, from the steering feeling, for example. and of course this Porsche engine and the platform from the Panorama, so there are some similarities you also somewhat feel when driving this vehicle. But I think, just all the things, they really profited from that. And that's also the reason why they do that with the big corporations, that some part of the corporation develops something and the others just use it. That just makes sense, economies of scale, and also you can do things more in perfection then. And here we go. To me, the finest thing you can do with this vehicle, driving it with the open top. I do have the wind deflector mounted, and that's actually the most important thing to prevent too much wind going around here in this vehicle. It's a classic one, but it's also the most effective one, definitely. And the question is always with the cabriolets, are they all-season convertibles or are they just for hot summertime and so on? And I have to say that considering we're driving at the moment 50 kilometers an hour, so about like 30 miles or something, there is a surprising amount of wind noise from the left back area if we compare it, for example, with mid-size convertibles, be it like an Audi A5, BMW 4 Series or Mercedes C-Class, or even then above that Mercedes E-Class convertible, for example. Again, we're talking about a high niveau or high level here, so everything I say has to be rated against the price and not like in a general low car segment. So we can also be a little bit pickier if we spend so much money, of course. But in general, still a very fun driving feeling, and that's what it's all about. Really cool to enjoy the air suspension. Now some damages on the road here, and I feel that 22-inch wheels, due to that reduce the comfort a little bit, but then still okay because the air suspension is evening it out. But I actually, wind noise-wise, would have expected that it's a little bit more silent in here. From the wind I feel, actually, it's still okay. Now it's about like a nice cruising speed, 60 to 70 kilometers an hour or something. This is always really nice for cruising. Here you feel, for European roads, the car is really wide. That can be a problem at times. Then you're more at home in a smaller convertible. This won't be an issue, of course, on US roads. Well, we picked a nice pittoresque landscape road here for you, so you can enjoy driving this one here together with me with an open top. I told you earlier with the coupe part that the engine sound is not that notable, so driving the convertible indeed makes it more notable, especially if you are in sports mode. But it's also not set on the tone that it's... They could also drive a little bit more to the side, can't they? So it's not set on a tone that you want to pose with the sound or something. This is, after all, a gentleman's car, and gentlemen don't want to arouse like too much attention. Yeah. But maybe a little bit, So the ladies should know, but they shouldn't be screwed off. That's, I think, the balance, isn't it? And now to the conclusion for today with the Bentley Continental GT, here as a coupe, but also, as we've seen, as a convertible, both in the V8 version. First of all, V8 versus W12. Yeah, it's a little bit lighter. It's not, that much less powerful. So overall, I think, also considering the price that you have to pay way more extra for the W12, I think the V8 is absolutely fine in performance and also how it balances the whole vehicle. The main difference here in the new generation to the predecessor is it's sportier, it's more agile, there's a better steering input, the suspension has been upgraded, it's more comfortable and sporty at the very same time. Great air suspension setup, you still feel it's an air suspension here, I think that's very important. So they kept this Bentley origin, so to say. It does not really feel like a Panamera two-door or something. However, you feel some similarities, of course, from other Volkswagen Group vehicles and, of course, the Porsche engine, the platform and so on. but it still kept its own Bentley character with this more ship-alike feeling, but more agile than before, and I think that's the main difference. So indeed, the shift from the previous generation to this one here is a very, very big one. However, they kept the very elegant and timeless exterior, also one of the key features of this vehicle. Perfection in the interior, the build quality is really super, super high. Yes, they're working on a more sustainable material choice. That will be the most important Bentley project for the future, or it's already going on right now. Told you earlier, they already had a concept car with that, so really waiting for that. And driving wise, as I said, a big improvement, so it was a lot of fun. And I think, you know, to me, the seat's a little bit more too voluminous. I told that earlier. Yeah, they could be a little bit sportier, so you don't feel like, you know, being pushed out of the seat, so to say, you know, figuratively speaking. But overall, still a very impressive vehicle. So, what do you think? Would you actually go for this one? Can you actually go for this one? I mean, hardly anyone can. You have to pay massive amounts of money for that. €250,000 or dollars. Yeah, you should always calculate with that. Of course, a little bit less expensive with the V8, and of course a little bit less expensive here with the Coupe. But to me, yeah, I mean, I would always take the convertible. If there's a car where there's a Coupe and the convertible version, it's always the convertible for me as a cabriolet fan. So, what would be your take? Please join us in the comments, and also see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you especially for all long-term subscribers. Stay tuned, see you next time.